welcome to our show, Informally Formal. Our today's topic is something very important. It's about the environment. And we have with us today someone who is very passionate about the environment. His name is Mohammed Mohsin. He's the vice chairman of the PHP family. They're into a lot of industries like steel, gas, they're in shipbreaking, they're in automobile, they're in the education space, and a host of other industries. So a large conglomerate. Welcome, Mohammed Mohsin. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Akber, and thank you all the guests. Thank you, and I'm feeling very proud to be here.
All right, great. So let's just get started. Across the companies that you have, Mohsin, would you tell us what steps do you take, or how do you deal with the environmental issues that we all face in not only in Bangladesh but everywhere in the world? So what in particular are you doing across your companies to take care of the environment? Over to you, Mohsin.
Let's see. Let's start from my childhood. I can say what I have seen that people are doing many businesses, many factories they're running, but they're not thinking about even outside the wall, their factories boundaries. They don't think about what's happening there or what kind of harm or damages they're doing outside the boundaries. So this is, I think, very ignorant and also lack of knowledge. So what we think that the thing like when I studied abroad, after finished graduating, I came back. Then I saw a total different face here in Bangladesh, and I have faced a lot. And but the thing is, I must give credit to my father, even though he didn't have any chance to study abroad or anywhere. But I think he inherited it from his parents, from our ancestors, and he passed this thing on to us. So we started thinking positive. So first, when we went for a steel plant, what we did, I saw my father instructing us that put the ETP plant first before you start any work. Effluent treatment plant it neutralizes all the hazardous chemicals. I said, Abu, let us start the factory, make money, then we'll think about that work. My father said, no, you do that work first, then you start the factory. Then we looked and we checked. The environment department is there. They didn't have any embargoes about it. Later on, environment department came up, they learned, and they made a law that time. So I must take the credit that we started to bring this thing in our country. So see, that's how we started thinking. There's the education we got from my father also, that you have to think positive, take care of the nature. So what we did, we went shipbreaking from long ago. So what we found out is not safe, and it's also polluting the country, polluting the whole world, you can say. So we started to learn, do more study about it, and started to travel all over the countries, all over the world, checking out all the clean, environment friendly shipyards. Then we started to implement our yard. So now we can say this year our shipyard has become the model shipyard in Bangladesh, or not only Bangladesh, you can say the whole world, because it recently built. So we had availed all the latest technologies there just to keep the environment safe and safety of the employees. So we are availing everything there. Alhamdulillah, we have got the already Basel Convention and NKK approval, and even America, USA, ABS class, Japanese class, they're all decided to sell their ships to us only because we break the ship environmental way. So this is a huge thing for Bangladesh also to be proud of.
Very good. Mohsin, so I guess what you're saying is that inspiration, even before the Department of Environment was vigilant about some of these things, the inspiration came from your father in saying
Yes.
that he had the foresight to see that environment is our responsibility and our responsibility to take care of. That is
True.
amazing. That is really something.
One thing I think, you know what, let me be selfish about us. What I'll do, my son, I'll think about him only. So what am I keeping for my son? Is it a safe environment or no? No, it's not. So I must take care of this surroundings. So my son gets a safe environment.
Right.
So if we become, everybody think about their son only. Don't have to think about me. Don't have to think about the whole world. Forget it. Just think about your own son. The
Right.
change will come.
Exactly. One of the things that people oftentimes ignore or forget to think about is, doesn't matter how much money you have, you're still breathing the same polluted air that you have contributed to making. You're still, even if you drink imported water, but the fish and the beef and the vegetables and stuff that grows and uses the water, the polluted water, that then becomes a part of the substances, the food that we consume. You cannot run away from it. So it becomes a vicious cycle. So you're absolutely right.
Actually, you see the corrugated sheet we produce. This is the first time in Bangladesh we introduced the NOF line, non-oxidized furnace, and that was very expensive for that time. And if I can give you an example, like usually it used to cost us 5 crore taka to build one CI sheet mill, one line, right? It get coated by the zinc, then get corrugated. But that factory cost us 100 crore taka at that time, just because it was environment friendly. And we went for that. 5 crore to 100 crore taka we invested, and just to save the environment, because you don't need lead in that furnace. Without lead, you can galvanize the sheet. So that is the only reason, because we found out lead causes all this arsenic we are calling. It rains, it washes out all the tins, it goes under the water and comes back again. So the whole cycle is going on. The lead get into the water, and we get affected again. So just to think about that process, we went for lead-free product.
Mohsin, when we talk about the environment and protecting the environment, we obviously talk about water, right? Which is a limited resource. A lot of people don't realize that, because in a country like Bangladesh, where you see so many rivers and you find water everywhere, people do not realize that that is a very scarce resource, because all the water is not drinkable water, and drinkable water is very, very scarce, right? So you take care of the water through effluent treatment plants, ETPs. So you, first of all, of course, you try to what is called triple R. You try to reuse, recycle, right? To use all of those to minimize the use of water, and then whatever is the end of pipe treatment, like we like to say, you go through ETP, and what you release into the environment is not harmful for the environment. So that's one side of it. Then there is air pollution that you need to take care of. Whatever it is that your factories are emitting to the environment, it's not hazardous to the environment. There is one other thing, is whenever in a production process, we have waste, okay? So there is of course water, there is air, and then there is solid waste. That also needs to be thought about in terms of recycling, in terms of safe disposal. So all of these things have to be kept in mind, because as you know, with this COVID situation, all over the place now, we are finding disposable masks all over. They're washing up on beaches now, rivers and streams, not just in Bangladesh, everywhere. And then there is a problem with microplastic. So all the plastic being used and stuff, the oceans are filled with microplastic, and some of these microplastic now has even been found in human brain, okay? So this microplastic is another huge area of problem. so to speak. So,
Very
Mohsin, go
true.
ahead. What are your thoughts?
The thing is, see what the risk cycling concept is working in Bangladesh is like it is not very clear actually, because the thing is, it's a big, huge project, recycling or taking care of all the hazardous chemicals or products. If we see other countries, developed countries, they have a government-run recycling plant, which is very expensive, and it can cost a whole budget of Bangladesh. So, government should look into this matter, make aware on not only the environment department going to the factories and shutting them down is not the solution. They have to find out and give the way how to get out of it also. They never show us that how to survive. They only fine us. So finding us is not the solve the problem. So they have to come out. They have to have the knowledge of that. That's how you can survive. So I don't have all the education. I don't know everything. So the environment department who are working with this, they should have this education, specialty, so they can guide us also. So these are the expertise has to come from their side. It's not a easy thing to recycle and neutralize everything into drinkable water. So it's a long process, and big investment needs to be done. Big education also needs to be done. Has to invest in the educate people also. The human resource needs to be developed with this concept. In shipbreaking yard, when I first came join, I provided shoes. What they did, they kept it in the room. When they, after done working, when they're going to see cinema, that's when they put the shoes on. But when they were working, they never wore the shoes. So I had to educate them. I had to teach them. I had to, then one accident, two accidents, when they got saved, that's when I brought them as an example in front of everyone. I said, talk about it, how you were saved because of your wearing shoes. Then he lectured. So other laborers heard. That's when they learned. So it takes time. The education needs to be started. Government has to be more aware of the environment. And the water pollution, we can see it sometimes, right? We can see the color changing or getting darker or muddy. But the air pollution is the most dangerous pollution, which we cannot see. Even we cannot feel right away. It is a long-term process. It affects slowly. It's a slow poisoning thing. So air pollution, we have to be very, very careful. Like in our glass factory, we have a chimney. So the height is, government has a certain height that you have to put that height. But we have found out our chimney has to be higher than this. And we had to put another factory inside the chimney, in fact, just to clear the air. So it cost us money. We did it. And now if I think about other doesn't do, why should I do? No, I should not feel like this. This is an ethical issue comes up again. So anyway, so we are doing that. And also talk about the automobile. We import all the cars from Japan, most of them, 90%. And what cars? Those are reconditioned, we call, because cheaper. When Japan sell those cars, when they start polluting in Japan, that's when they get rid of them. And we are the only country buys all these cars. If we don't buy it, what they'll do? What they can do, they shred it and make it a melting scrap, which will become very cheap. No, when it's become melting scrap, it becomes very cheaper. But if they sell it as a car, that makes more money. So what they're doing basically, dumping all the second-hand cars in Bangladesh to save their environment. But they're not thinking the big picture. If Bangladesh gets polluted, it's part of the world, right? So they have to think about it also. And we should be aware of it.
Mohsin, I'm sure you know that
Yes.
unfortunately, that's been a practice around the world. Until very recently, United States used to send all its garbage to China and then to Malaysia and on and on, okay? So when ship containers full of goods used to go from China, they used to fill those with most of those containers with absolutely garbage that used to be brought back to China, till China stopped that. So unfortunately, it's not a very fair world, you know. Poor countries are always used as dumping grounds, where
Yes, yes, yes.
and all the dirty jobs, like, you know, leather industry is very polluting.
What?
Garments,
Yes,
garments is especially washing, dyeing, and finishing is a very polluting industry. And
yes, yes.
my company, we have worked directly in the environment space for so many years, so I know firsthand as to how polluting these industries are. So Western world countries tend to dump all their dirty laundries, so to speak, to poor, hapless countries like
Third world.
and the ones in
Yeah.
Africa, and some other places. You're absolutely right. But Mohsin, we need to be cognizant of that. We need to be aware of that, and we need to make
Yes.
sure that we protect our environment, right?
Yes. And we should start thinking about it, and not only think about it, we have to educate our next generation also. What is environment? Why we have to take care of it? And I think the COVID is a big example for us, in front of us also, to show the kids, not only kids, the people around us, who doesn't want to understand, who doesn't respect the environment issues. So these are the things we should educate them, and the government should invest money for the education. It has to be a chapter in the school books, that what is environment is, why we have to take care of our nature, why is our mother, if we take care of our mother, mother will take care of us. So this concept has to be developed from the childhood. So I think in education system they can add this.
You absolutely pointed out the right thing, that it needs to start with education and awareness. We need to massively educate and make people aware of the importance of these things. And government needs to take a very proactive role in these areas as well. And I'm not saying the government is not. Government is making a lot of effort. And we
Yes.
also know that there are a lot of NGOs and foreign countries as well that are taking an interest in protecting the environment and making sure that our businesses are more environment friendly. So any closing remarks, Mohsin? We are at the tail end of our discussion today. Any closing remarks that you would like to make?
I think the time has come to think about now and pause. If you pause, then the process will start. Then we start thinking what we'll do the next one. When we think about it, definitely we will do the right thing. So I think this is the one thing we should follow. Another thing, what I have declared my company, even myself following it now, I told my kids, you cannot buy 2 packs of butter now. Buy one. Let's see if we die or not. Another thing is environment. It's a big issue. And if we want to survive, have a healthy life, not like you see nowadays, babies are coming out with cancer or HIV. That is not fair. It's an innocent baby. They should not come out with cancer. And it's happening because the pollution. Why should this innocent baby suffer? Who doesn't know anything, coming to this world with a disease? We cannot do this unfair thing. We should change.
With those words, Mohsin, I would like to once again thank you so very much for joining us. And I would like to thank our audience for joining us for this very important topic, as how do we protect our environment, not only just for ourselves, but for our future generations. With an invitation for you to join us again next week, I'd like to leave it right here. I sign off. Stay safe, and I will see you next week. Bye-bye.